So it is fitting that he who is divine, in bringing many sons to glory, should make the founder of their salvation perfect through suffering. It is fitting. Christ's suffering and humanity were not arbitrary, but necessary according to God's wisdom to accomplish his purposes. And the purpose here, the emphasis here, is that his people might be made perfect through the suffering of he who is perfect. We who are imperfect can be counted as perfect because of the suffering of he who is perfect, and therefore he is not ashamed to call them brothers. Right? Being made a little lower than the angels possibly could have been something that would have caused him shame, and yet because of the fittingness of the purpose of the incarnation, Christ is not ashamed of his humanity. And again, we might be tempted to think this when we talk about his humanity, and we recognize this is a permanent status for Christ. Christ becomes incarnate, and he will always be truly human. And there might be a temptation to say, well, doesn't that somehow minimize him? Isn't that something to be ashamed of? And no, it's not, because it was fitting. It was fitting for the perfect and plan of God. He is not ashamed to call them brothers. He had to be one of us in order to perfect us and make us part of his brotherhood. And then verses 14 and 15 then sort of further flesh out this idea of the necessity of why he had to actually take on human flesh. Why? Because we share in flesh and blood. Because the children share in flesh and blood, we are fleshly. Christ had to assume the same nature as we have. Well, when we talk about some of the historical debates, Gregory of Nazianzus, his famous statement, that which is not assumed cannot be healed. If Christ had not assumed the full and true human nature that we possess, then our human nature could not have been healed. And so he had to take upon himself that same nature. This was necessary so that he, through death, might destroy the one who has the power of death, emphasizing the real physical bodily death of Christ, which was necessary to defeat Satan's hold over humanity. Deliver all those who through fear of death were subject to slavery. Christ experienced death on behalf of those who placed their faith and trust in him. This was necessary.